welcome back to another episode of WWZ Podcast. Here we got our deck review. We're going to do the natural disasters. And that's enough of my Macho Man for right now. We have a deck clinic request from a person named Killer Cactus. He sent me a natural disasters deck. He's pretty new to the game, so he wanted some help, building a deck and becoming accustomed to the virtual environment. So I figured I'd take a quick little look over the Superstar. And they're alright. There's nothing real special about them. They throw some splashes, and they kind of hurt your pre-match a little bit, but other than that, they're an okay, middle-of-the-road Superstar. But enough of that, we're going to get right to the deck here. Their original deck was a raw face deck, and they were even running 3 old school psychs, so obviously they weren't up to date on all the Backstage Shenanigans cards and the nerfs for old school psychology. I didn't have much direction, so I did a pretty dramatic overwork of the deck. I took it smackdown and heal because it gives them more card draw, and being able to play their splashes after a card. Abraham Washington really gives them a good benefit of getting good actions on the board, more card draw, and just overwhelm your opponent. So, with the Backstage area, it's pretty self-explanatory. You got your Natural Disaster Superstar card. You have their 2 specifics, throwing your weight around, and as big and tough as any 2 men. Then you got your Raw Deal 10th year anniversary. I wouldn't play any more like Backstage Signature or Sign Appearance because Backstage Shenanigans is a card, so start playing around it. I mean, do you really want to skip your turn for 1 Superstar value or 1 hand size? This is not worth the trade, in my opinion. Okay, now we're getting down to the pre-match. So we're starting it off with Saturday night's main event. It's pretty much a staple in these type of guys because they're a WWF Superstar. So you automatically get their free pre-match. You get +1 starting hand size. Then we're going down to stipulation. We got a handicap match, another staple for any tag team Superstar. You got your +2 pre-match, your +2 mid-match, and a plus to your hand size and minus to theirs, so you're always going to pack it. They can also run legendary management, which is actually pretty darn good in this environment nowadays, since their Backstage card, no, not the Backstage card, their mid-match reduces your maneuvers by 2 damage, so you got your elbow to the faces, you got your revolutions of the mind, and then you got legendary management on top of that. You have a pretty good, solid reversal base at 0 fortitude. So then you got their 2 pre-match. Unstoppable Forces of Nature. It's a newer one that they got. It lets them search for all their splashes. It's kind of like the Backstage Dynamically Inclined, except it works for splashes. So that's really good. You'll probably want to start with grabbing a technical splash in the corner because it's a decent high risk, and it also searches for more. So that'll probably be the high risk I'd always grab with it. You can prepare for these disasters. Just another solid pre-match. It stops your opponent from searching during the pre-match phase. If you think your opponent's heal, you want to play it early for things like a no-show. Can really hurt those types of decks. I'm also running Premier SmackDown Superstar and Banned from Ringside. They're mainly just for the card draw, and Banned from Ringside is just a really solid pre-match like any SmackDown deck. A no-show. When you play that, you're going to want to put its showtime into play, and the 2 heal cards you're going to grab for a no-show will be Anything Can Hate It, and probably grab the mic. I'll get down and grab the mic later on, but Anything Can Hate It, you're only running a 1 of, and you want to play it as early as possible to minimize the card draw your opponent gets off of it. You're running 9 of Champions. It just gives you I'm going to break you protection, and it's free. The World Wrestling Federation Tag Team title belt's the original one, because it gives you a little bit bigger boost to your Superstar value to make sure you get Premier SmackDown Superstar out in case they do play like a Backstage Signature card that knocks your Superstar down. by one. It's showtime, like I previously said. You'll put that in with the no-show. And the Abraham Washington show, which is kind of the bread and butter of the deck. It makes your first heal action a multi and ignores completely on your opponent's reversals to it, as long as you don't have a copy of that card in your ring area. And their card style once is enough is plus 10 fortitude for each copy of it they have in their ring area. And you get a search for a heal action at the end of the prematch phase, so it's really good. With that one, I would probably almost grab either a second grab the mic because it's so good for tag teams, or a bait opponent. So I'll get down to that one later on. We're moving down to mid-match now. We got outside interference. Just the staple reversal for heal decks, especially when you're running a manager like you are. And then you got your manager interferes, so there's no reason not to have it. Restricted use in this area, another staple. Sustained damage. You probably want to play that turn one in case they get the jump on you, just so you can play turning everything upside down on their second card played, just to get their turn over as quick as possible. Unscrupulous SOB, another heal staple reversal. Classic teamwork, staple reversal. This is going to be an old school brawl. Again, cards you're just going to want to pack in every deck. Turning everything upside down. Their card, the biggest tag team champions in history. It got a pretty good buff with, I think, their Backstage card that says that your cards don't go into your ringside pile and you don't discard cards on reversals to them. So there's no reason not to try to throw this card out turn 1 or turn 2. Ideally, play it as your third card play. Try to burn through their cow or turning everything upside down, just so you can just run on them. And how you're going to start the game is I'm running 4. This is just the beginning. It's a 0 Fortitude SmackDown mid-match action. 0 for 1. It's a setup. So for 1, you draw with the SmackDown logo, so that's good. 2, actions are generally harder to reverse than maneuvers. So, and with their ability, you can go, it's just beginning into a big splash. So, there's that. You can always just go, this is just the beginning. You play 2 of them, and then for your third one, you play grab the mic, which hopefully they're not a good player, and they play turning everything upside down just for no reason at all. Anyways, that's your mid-match. Pretty solid. You got a lot of red walls there. Nothing real flashy. No real hard tech there. Alright. We're moving over to actions. I'm running 2 bait opponent, which is a 4 fortitude action. Your next card played this turn is minus 6 fortitude, and your opponent's reversal to it is plus 6 fortitude. So, you got the 4 for that. With your, it's just beginnings. You go in the bait opponent, which is multi because of Abraham, and you go into a big splash. And it's also good late game if your opponent you're just a red wall and they can't get on the board. You can play that into like a big, their specifics like Disastrous double splash, which will just ruin them. It's a pretty playable card. You got your 3 grab the mic throwbacks. It's a 1 fortitude action. Because you're a tag team, you get to draw 2 when you play it. And your opponent's reversals to your next maneuver play this turn is like plus 5 and your superstar value, so like plus 10. So for a 1 fortitude action, that's pretty darn good. So you play that into a splash, plunging the reversals, making them grumpy. Little She-Devil, I'm running 3 of those. It's an old card, and I don't see people playing it much anymore. It's for tag teams only. It's 7 fortitude action. You can either choose to discard it to draw 3, or you can play it into your ring area, and then your opponent's reversals to your next player plays turn is plus your current fortitude rating. So how that card works is when you play it, they have to decide whether they want to play Fortitude Surge when you're playing it, or see how they want to reverse it. Because if they pop Fortitude Surge and you know they have it, then you can just be like, okay, I'm going to discard it to draw 3, and just ignore it, not worry about it. We got some other ones. What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine throwback. I don't see many people playing that. I was kind of running out of ideas to put cards in because most of your maneuvers are going to stick, so you have more leniency to have flavor in the deck. And what's mine is mine does is it lets you take like one of their moves in their ring area and puts it into your ring area, which could make some people instantly lose the game because it just wrecks their fortitude curve. I got another one. Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. With that one, it's like a 9 fortitude action or something. Anyways, when you play it to your ring area, you get to pick up 3 heal cards, and you ring stuff out and put them in your hand, and you're running a bunch of heal stuff, so it's really good for that. And another bread and butter card is 3 You're Not in My League. I would like to take credit that I brought this card back. Nobody used to play this card, and now it's just brutal. It's like a Commissioner Rules on crack. It's a 9 fortitude heal action if you have more stun value in your ring area than your opponent, which, like all your splashes, pretty much have stun. So you get to draw 2 cards, and you get to look at their hand and pick 2 cards, and they discard them. If one of these hits, you pretty much got the game. Because then if your first one hits, then you know your second one's going to hit, then your third one's going to hit, and it's just snowballs out of control. With your reversals, you got a bunch of staples that most people run on almost all their decks. You got your 2 volley this. You got Don't Be a Douchebag, 2 Don't Try Us at Home, Shocking Interference, their card You'll Feel the Tremors. I'm running 1 Inside Cradle and 1 Backslide because I usually put those in like every single deck ever because they're really good cards, especially when this deck you have like a pretty high fortitude curve. Like you start low and then your splash is just, you go from like the 4 to 12 to like 20. So your fortitude curve is really high. You're not messing around with like anything under 10 fortitude for very long. And your hand's huge, so the odds of you drawing him is pretty darn good. You got your 2 Sidewalk Slam throwbacks, 3 Revolution of the Mind, anything and hate it like I brought up earlier. You want to grab that all the time with a no-show. Carlito Says That's Not Cool, Divine Intervention, 3 Elbow to the Face, 3 Get the F Out, because you're a heel, so you got to run 3 of those. 1 Hold the Phone. It's a good 2 fortitude reversal, especially since you'll probably play 2 It's Just Beginnings turn 1, and then they'll probably play turning everything upside down on your 3rd one, which is perfectly fine. That doesn't hurt you at all, but it gives you 2 fortitude for reversal. And 3 Manager Interferes. Now onto your maneuvers. I'm running 2 Atomic Driver. You're probably going to want to save Atomic Driver until you're going to plunge into it, because you're not doing much hand destruction, except you're not in my league. Atomic Driver, what you're going to want to do with that is you'll play that, and then you'll go grab like one of their TMFs, or you will feel the Tremors, and which will let you use that as a reversal, then let you go right into the Earthquake Splash for the win. You got Typhoons Big Slam, the Earthquake Power Slam. I mean, they're their cards. You might as well pack them. Atomic Knee Drop, which I think will probably hit a lot because, you're essentially mono high risk, which is kind of ironic for a tag team of that size. 3 Big Splash in the corner, Classic Splash, 3 of your regular Splash, throwback. Your Disastrous Double Splash. That card is so ridiculously good. It's like a 18 for 12, high risk, high risk, high risk. And they pick 2 cards at random in their hand and then discard the rest. Oh, it's brutal. Brutal. It's probably my favorite card that they got. You got your 3 Tactical Splash in the corner, 2 Atomic Lariat. It's an okay card. It's It's just another hard card to reverse. If they're sitting on 0 Fortitude, it's usually pretty safe to throw. You just lob that into a high risk, nothing special. Then you got your Earthquake Splash and then your Tidal Wave Splash, which is their 2 trademark finishers. Which, that would be the deck list. So, what you're going to want to do with the deck is, like I said earlier, you're going to play, this is just the beginning, and then you're just going to go, you're going to play all 4 of those, and then you're just going straight into the splashes. Or you can play 2 of them, and then use a splash to draw a cow. It depends how many splashes you draw in your opening hand. Your hand size should be, I don't know, probably 12, 13. So you have a pretty big starting hand size. Don't worry about running out cards in hand, because once you get on the board, your big heal actions will refill your hand up really quickly. So if you need to play their mid-match and hide 2 cards to keep picking up moves just to keep pressure on, go ahead and do it. That's a good strat to do. The longer you stay at like under 10 Fortitude, it's just the worse you're going to be. So, you know, be really aggressive with us at the start of the game. Other than that, they're just a pretty solid beat 'em up deck. Like I said, there's nothing real special or techy about them. All things considered, if I was going to build like anybody for like just the mono high risk route, there's certainly better superstars you can play than Natural Disasters. You have people like I think it's Nikki from the Spirit Squad, or it's one of those that makes all your strikes high risks. I would probably think he'd probably be better for it. Then you've got, of course, Shane O'Mac is amazing for, you know, your high risks. But if you just want, you know, a fun nostalgia deck from the past, I enjoyed a Natural Disasters as a tag team back in the day, so I can definitely see why somebody would be interested in playing him. Hopefully, Killer Cactus. This is his deck, by the way. I hope he enjoys the deck list. I hope he enjoys the deck review, and hopefully he has some good success with it and doesn't lose to Brandon too much. And with that, I bid everybody adieu.